Prime Cut, Default Prime's weekly video game news roundup. I'm your host as usual, Steven Snakey Galenzi, and due to some work schedule conflicts, this video was going to be delayed a day. But for this video, we're going to be talking about how The Binding of Isaac is going to be delayed on 3DS due to religious themes. Also, we're going to talk about how Pokemon Black and White is going to have a sequel. Also, we're going to bring up and talk about how an Oklahoma bill that was going to tax violent video games has been denied. And lastly, we're going to talk about the new assassin in Assassin's Creed 3. And of course, this week is packed full, so let's get right into the video.
What? Blizzard, one of the companies that just makes money, had to cut 600 people? That's inconceivable! It must be saying though that 90% of those people that are laid off weren't involved with the production of a game. Also to note is that no one from the WoW portion of Blizzard was cut. Which, you know, that's so surprising. No upcoming game by Blizzard is expected to be delayed or hindered by this layoff either. But at the end of this announcement, there was some hints that there might be some interesting news involving Diablo 3's release date coming soon.
You really got to play as a team.
Announced earlier this week was that Borderlands 2 will be launching with Steamworks, thus meaning that you'll be getting Steam achievements, cloud saving, auto updates, and all of those fancy features that come with being on Steam. Now for those that don't know, just last week we got a release date for the game, which is September 18th. Also, it offered 96.5% more Wub-Wub, not to be confused with Lub-Lub. Those that have been wondering how to get HBO Go on their fancy 360, you know, outside of writing HBO Go on a piece of paper and then taping it to your Xbox, don't need to fear because there's news for you. Coming April 1st, you can now get HBO Go on your Xbox. Don't you just love it when people release stuff on April Fool's Day? It always makes you wonder if it's legit or if it's some weird joke they're pulling on you. This will also ride alongside the start of Game of Thrones Season 2. While the current youth might know Sonic cartoons only through his Sonic X series, but back in my days, there were two Sonic series I recall very well. The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog and Sonic the Hedgehog the Animated Series. Now between the two, The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog was the one I saw more of. In fact, it was the only one between the two I actually had VHSs of. You know, remember those things? Netflix now has said cartoon series available for streaming, so that all of you like me who grew up with that series can watch it again if you haven't gone and bought the series on DVD yet. So I'm expecting to go back in time and relive my youth. And probably be severely depressed at it. Man, it appears that Nintendo has issues with Team Meat because the hopes of getting The Binding of Isaac on the 3DS has just been rejected. And yes, I know, The Binding of Isaac isn't made by Team Meat, it's just quicker for me to say it that way. The reason the game is being rejected is due to the fact of the religious themes present in the game. But you know, all of those possibly blasphemous statements in the game, those weren't a problem. Weird. This isn't the first time that Team Meat has had problems with Nintendo either, because originally, Super Meat Boy was planned to be on the Wii, but that was ditched due to the extremely small file size limit for downloadable games, and Nintendo wasn't willing to give them any extra. Perhaps Team Meat should look into maybe another handheld console that was released recently. You know, I sure would buy it. Shank was a game known about going and beating the crap out of people, and then shoving a chainsaw into whatever was left. The group's next game is a little more subtle and requires some sneaky ninja thinking. There isn't a lot told about the game just yet, but there is a short video for it, and also a short text adventure game available on markoftheninja.com. And Mark of the Ninja will be coming out on XBLA this summer, and only on XBLA. What? Pokemon is finally having an actual numerical sequel? Is it a sign of the end times? Well, one might believe and hope that this could mean that it would be released on the 3DS. But nope. None. Nada. It's still on the regular old DS. However, we are quick to be informed that you can also play it on the 3DS. As a 3DS can play DS games. Well, thanks, Nintendo. There isn't a lot of info for the game just yet, so we can't really say a whole lot about it. But we do know that it'll be coming out in June in Japan. The Unreal Engine is one of those main game engines that people out there like to use. In fact, even you can mess around with the Unreal Developers Kit if you wanted to, and also said kit is free to use. I mean, even I dabbled in UDK for a while, before I realized I lacked the patience to learn everything there needs to be learned to be effective at creating a mediocre game. We can't say just yet what all will be improved in the next engine, but we can assume that it'll be the usual. You know, better graphics, physics, lighting, and all those other checklists. But it's what else this engine can bring that interesting aspect. We'll just have to wait and see on this. For those League of Legenders out there, it's party time with the newest champion, Fiora the Grand Duelist. As shown in a comic book style image, this new character will be a swift fencer. So that means, and it's been confirmed, that she'll be the speed type. Now I'm sure I could go into details like how she has this move and how it does this or that, but I'm sure I would sound like a complete idiot trying to explain it. So check out League of Legends website for more details on this new champion. It's been nothing new to see a big name publisher who left from one game studio to go on to one that's a little less big AAA game. So they go into something say like the indie game world, some create social games, and in this case of Alex Seropian, co-founder of Bungie, he's going on to create mobile games. His new group is being called Industrial Toys, and as it's stated on the group's Facebook, it shall be devoted to mobile games. Their key goal is to create games that are accessible without sacrificing quality, and thus targeting those core gamers out there. Now, we don't have any idea at this time of what their first game will be, but based on their history, I'm going to guess it will probably involve space and probably shooting something in the face. In the little old state of Oklahoma, there was a little old bill sitting on some hill that journeyed so far to propose that all violent video games should have a 1% tax on them. Now, this would only apply to rated T, M, and AO games, because as we all know, rated E games aren't violent at all. Look at Mario, it's not violent. You know, he just jumps on creatures' heads and then they disappear. Not violent at all. I digress though. Said bill has been denied. One of the main reasons that it was proposed was as a way to fight bullying and obesity. Now, the reason it was denied was because it was arbitrary to only choose violent video games when there's a ton of other things out there that are more likely to cause said issues. Hurrah for people thinking! It's time to get in the spandex suit of your favorite bug-oriented superhero again. No, I'm not talking about Ant-Man. It's the Amazing Spider-Man. Coming out in June is the latest in the Spider-Man series of games, and this time it's a movie tie-in. Not so much on the grounds there'll be a movie game, more of it'll be a sequel of sorts to the film, taking place after the film. They're calling it a epilogue game. The first trailer showcase features our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man going against the Rhino. Now, we can only guess who else we might encounter, if anyone, during the course of the game. Perhaps some that haven't appeared in more recent games and films, like Mysterio. So let's start the guessing game on who just might appear. If you've been saying to yourself, what I want in my Operation Raccoon City is some good old curb stomping, then I'm sure you'd be pleased with the latest trailer for the game. Other interesting elements shown in the trailer is that you'll be able to use zombies as human shields, as that definitely makes a lot of sense. Why haven't we seen more people doing that? Outside of the risk of being bitten by the zombie while doing so. Also, just barely and briefly shown, I believe we get to see Nemesis with a minigun in hand, which might be the actual first time we've seen him appear in-game if that is the case. People of the internet, I'm sure you'll let me know if that's right or wrong, because you always do. Wow, another Call of Duty game. Call me and everyone else in the world in shock and awe. To be fair though, this isn't officially confirmed, but certain reports are coming in that this will be happening, and it'll be coming out in November. Truth be told though, it's not all that surprising that there's a new Call of Duty game coming out. These games come out every year now. One year is Modern Warfare, the next is some other Call of Duty, and then it's back to Modern Warfare. but it now appears they'll switch between Black Ops one year and Modern Warfare the other. Oh, goody. We finally have some very brief details involving the next Assassin's Creed, as well as a look at our new assassin. From the details and pictures we have, we know the game will take place in the Revolutionary War over here in America. Our protagonist's outfit and weapons, which include a tomahawk and a bow and arrow, seem to indicate that he will be a Native American. However, though it does hint at being a Native American, the outfit does appear to just be off for the time. While this isn't what everyone might have expected, which I've heard some people were speculating that it would involve playing as a female assassin and would take place during one of the world wars, but you know, that's what speculation does. Though it does make you wonder, how will the Assassin's Creed universe work in a place that isn't full of giant cities like the previous installments were? Will we be able to make assassinations from the top of trees? Actually, that'd be kind of neat. Arguably one of the most anticipated games for this year is BioShock Infinite. Now it has finally a release date, which is October 19th. Too bad October still seems so far away. Also coming in October is Assassin's Creed 3, so it appears we can expect October to be quite interesting. And with that, it brings us to the end of this week's broadcast. For more news involving the video game world, bookmark and visit our website, defaultprime.com. And to be up to date on our weekly roundups and our reviews and previews, subscribe to us here. And as I always say, because I am too lazy to figure out new catchphrases, till next time, gamers.